Alright, I'm trying to work this panel up that's going to hold all of the battery accessories. So I've got the actual secondary battery itself, the charger, which will take the line from the vehicle's battery, pass it through here, and put it into this one to keep it charged, and then also an inverter so that we can have a few 120 outlets to go with it. Now the original plan was to put all of the audio equipment up here as well, but I ran out of room. I thought I was going to have plenty of room, and the space isn't quite as big as I thought, or the components I have are a lot bigger than I thought. So this is the size of the 2 amps that I'm going to put in here, and this is the digital signal processor. So somehow all of these would have had to go through here, and I ended up having a wall, which I didn't really want to do because I think I want to try to utilize some of this space for storage. So the Mrs. Homestead had an excellent idea. If we, let me move you here, if we take these pieces and move them up here instead. So this is some space that was for storage. There was kind of a cabinet back here, and the speakers were on either side, but the cabinet ended like right here, and there was like a foot of space behind it. So what we're actually going to do is move this strut back maybe about 8-10 inches and give us a little bit more head clearance here, and then I'm going to put on an angled panel up here. I'm going to put all my audio equipment up here, and I think that's going to do a really good job of separating that stuff and giving me more space down here to make use of. So I think what we're going to do is, I don't know, still trying to figure out if I want to mount this charger over on the side here, and that would give me more room over here for the inverter, and I'm also going to need to do some fusing and some distribution, some wire distribution as well. So that might be the plan, because again, I started doing both of these and I have some space, but it starts getting crowded. So we're going to find out. What I'm also doing right now is marking for mounting. You can see I've got these 2 screws in it right now. That was a factory mount where the tire jack was. So I can use those 2, which is nice. And then I'm going to want a support back here to anchor this to, and then one on the bottom. And I'm trying to mark this out, so I've got a little angled block, because this panel here is angled. And I'll slide this right behind here. And now I can mark right where the edge of my panel is. So now underneath here I've got a nice line. I can take a, whatever it's going to be, 3/4 inch piece of wood or something, and attach that to the frame here, and that will give me an anchor point to screw from this panel into that anchor, and that'll make this nice and solid up here as well. So that's what we're working on, trying to fit this all out. Again, templates is the name of the game. Just trying to figure this all out on some scrap wood, and then we can either use a good piece of plywood or possibly some plastic board, some PVC board or something. So I haven't figured that out yet. I'm working on the space where the audio equipment is going to go, the amplifiers, and I'm going to put this roofing insulation on, so I figured I might as well do that now so that it's in as I'm making my plans. You can see it's like about a 1/2 inch thick, pretty much just a foam material with an adhesive backing. So I'm going to start folding this up there, laying it out. The stuff is super sticky, and I think I'll do 1 full sheet in the middle and then kind of wrap it along the edge here and then down the sides as I progress my way through the van. So I put 1 piece on that door earlier, and like I said, this stuff is super sticky, so you really have to have it laid out and planned how you're going to do it. We'll see how it goes. Alright, there we go. That's that first piece in. Went in pretty well, and it takes to the contours pretty well too. You can see it broke a little bit on that corner, but for the most part it was taking all those corners pretty easily. So I think once we come into these corners, we won't have too much of an issue. I'm working on the base for the amp rack, and I think this is what we're gonna go with. This is curved here, so I needed to try to make a flat platform for some supports to sit on. So I'll do something like a 1x2 going across, and it's supported on that side to raise it up a little bit, and on that side, and then another support here in the middle. I might throw one here and here as well, just to give it a little bit more rigidity. And then same thing in the back, and that'll give me a pretty flat base for these triangles to sit on. I'll probably do 4 of these, and then the amp rack will sit on this and attach to it. I brought the panel in here, and it's a little too high. You can see I marked where it's hitting in the corners here. I'd like to get it back a little further, so I think I'll need to make this angle a little bit steeper. I just kind of guesstimated and put it at a 30-degree angle. Easier math too. And I think it's a little too steep. So we're gonna bring this from here, maybe down about 5 degrees or so. And that'll allow the amp rack to slide back a little bit further and back further from this edge also. That's the idea. It's a lot of just bringing these pieces in and out, tweaking them, and couldn't really plan for it. I just got to do it. So it's a slow process, but I think we got a good concept going. Got the amps and the DSP mounted on there for a test fit, and everything looks like it will work out pretty well. I'll show you the structure that's working underneath it right now. Well, there it is. That's that structure we got underneath. Initially I had it raised up quite a bit higher. It was steeper, and that didn't work. I think I had it at a 35-degree angle, and then I did the whole setup just like it is with a 25-degree angle, thinking that would work, and that turned out to be too steep also. So I had to redo all of those braces, and now it works out pretty well. It's a 15-degree angle and shallow enough to put it up on an angle so that I can utilize the space better and still fit in there. So there we go. So that structure will stay, and then we'll need to transfer that the panel that the amps are sitting on onto the actual plastic that we got for it. The mounting platform for the amps is done. There's the moon tick. And it worked out pretty well. Took a long time and a lot of trial and error, but it's pretty solid in there. Might add a couple extra bolts just to keep everything rock solid. But with it on an angle like this, it'll still give me access to these controls up here when I go to tune it. So it's good. And I tried out the RCA cables that are going to go from device to device. That all worked out pretty well. The power cables will snake in here, around the back, and circle around to here. The speaker wires will come from the head unit on this side and then go back out to the speakers on that side. So everything working pretty good so far.